I would love to show you how to paint this Florida sunset inspired by our visit to the Everglades National Park. I just absolutely loved seeing how the wetlands transition to the sandy palm tree beaches. And the sunsets there are amazing. This original painting right here will be for sale. You can go ahead and check that out at createfulart.com and go to my shop and buy it if you'd like. And what I'm going to be doing in this step is I'm just going to be getting the background, so the very first layer. I'm using my big fat wash brush for this, and I've made a peach color. You can see how to make the peach color above. And I'm focusing on the middle part of my canvas, just moving that color around and pushing it into the canvas. Now I want to add some of that peach color below that middle part. And that's the reflection of the peach in the water. So just add that right there below. And again, I'm just pushing it into the canvas. Now I'm going to take that Phalo blue and I made a really light blue with it. Okay, so the color combination makes it so that it's a soft transition from the peach to the other blue. So I'm just going above my peach with that color, and then I add a little bit more of the blue and that makes it darker, and I can always lighten it with some more gesso if I want to, but notice how that top corner is a little bit darker, and I've added in some of that darker blue in there. So I'm going to let that dry for a little bit and then I'll go over the top and soften it. So right now I'm adding with my big brush some palm trees and some tree formations in the background. Notice I'm being very loose. You can just follow along if you like. I'm just getting the basic shapes of palm trees back there. So a long skinny line for the trunk, and then some palm fronds which look like crazy hair. And this is just the very base coat, so it doesn't matter if this is perfect. I can always change it later. So I'm just getting kind of a horizon line done. Now I'm going to go back and soften the sky, so I've made a lighter blue and I'm going over it again to soften, and then I'm bringing that color down and I'm going to add some of the reflections of those trees onto the water, so with straight lines going down. Now I've grabbed my aqua green and I'm going to add some of the aqua green right below in the space where I'm going to have on the left a big landmass. I'm going to have it come down below and kind of make a C shape where the water will be. There will be a C shape of land on the edge. So I'm adding in some of the aqua into the sky so that there's harmony in my painting, and it's just very soft aqua. And then I'm filling in the white areas with the aqua color, and this is just so that I can cover my entire canvas. At this point I need it covered, and then I'm gonna let this dry. So at this point, this is what my color palette looks like, and it's ready for me to just put on this next layer. To keep my brush strokes loose, I'm going to use this flat brush. It's an inch wide wash brush, and this is what I'm going to use to put in the palm trees. So I'm going to take my color here, this black, and put a little bit of the warm color in with it, because I usually don't ever use my black straight. I want to have some harmony in it, so I pull colors into it. And then I'm going to start in this corner and just add in some tree. So the trees are going to go up here, and I'm going to leave some areas where there is sky peeking through. So the trees, it's going to come up here and have this land mass right through here. So I can start that and kind of give myself an idea where that'll begin. And notice I'm just being very loose with it, adding some areas where there's trees. And I'm putting in the shapes of the palm trees. And I'm being really irregular and loose with it. And so I can't really tell you there's a formula. I just play. I just figure wherever there's a line, that's where a tree needs to have a palm. So as I get closer to the light here, I'm going to go to my green. And then back to my black for the bottom part. And there's a lot of trees, so I'm gonna add a little bit of my blue to my black and get this gray tone to go in the background here where some trees are. It's laying back here, and I'm gonna bring that down into the green. And I'm not using any water right now. Want to get it nice and thick on. And then it's going to go into this area where I started my background trees that are further in the background. So I'm going to lighten up this color a little bit. And then pull some into this area and that area. The thing with the background and having something in the distance, you don't have to put a lot into it. You just have to give it the idea of what it looks like. So I'm just shaping it out over here, putting in some more palms. Keeping it nice and loose how I want it. And leaving some of those colors that I put in the background already. And take a little bit of that blue and just add some light in here. Some areas. Give some dimension. It's that same color. Just in some spots over. So it's kind of framed in. Now I'm going to make a separation between this level and the level that's going to go in front of it. So I'm going to add in some dark. And that level is going to go slanted down. So I'm going to make the eye kind of come down through here to this point. And I want to leave some of this green. I don't think they're capable of quiet. So I kind of squint and decide, like, where do I want this dark to be? Pull this up a little bit. Let it come up in the distance, and then try to keep this in the dark so I can fill it in just, you know, really randomly and then go over top with some other colors. Okay, for now, I'll let that be a layer. I like this right here, and so I want this to be more of a pond area, more of like swampy land. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of green right through here. Now the trail color, I'm gonna add in that gray that's in the back right here. That's going to create some harmony. So I'm just adding some blue and gray together. And I don't have to cover that completely, all those colors at this point. Just need to get in what I want. I'm just going to fill that in. Okay. So I worked on the composition looking back and kind of coming forward, and I brought in the green color, put it back here. So one thing I wanted to change with the composition real quick is adding some trees all the way to this midpoint. So I'm just going to make them get smaller, and I'm using my small flat brush for this. So I'm just going to have some smaller here, coming every which way. Until we get to this point. So it's just nice to figure out the background first before you go on to this step. Some things that I'm like, I want to keep that. And I like that cute tree back there, so I just kind of change the spot where this tree in front's going to go. And clump some together. And then I want this to reach over. So be nice. A little bit more detail there. This tree is going to go over this one, so I'm just going to make this one a little bit bigger to show that. Again, I'm just being very loose but a little bit more detailed. So on the side, I can add a little bit of the warm color just to pull in the sun shining on it. Make it come forward. These cool colors go back, warm colors come forward. Right, so follows this right here. Going to take a little bit of the peach on the side, just a tiny bit. Pull that down. And green it up. So this is forward more, it'll have more colors and more contrast. Bring it down just a little bit more forward right through here. So in this step, you're basically just adding a little bit more detail. That's what I do. in this. Now I could just leave this like this and just have it a very impressionistic painting. But for my style and how I do things, I like to add just a little bit more in there. Just like this to get some grasses in there. So I'm gonna have some long grasses that are just, they're going over this marsh area. I'm down here on the bottom, so it's a little hard to see how I'm working, but I don't need to get detailed with this. This is not the detailed style that I'm going for, so I'm just playing it really loose. Going down to my half brush and adding some warm in here. At this point, I don't really look at a reference photo very often. Just kind of going with the flow of what I feel it needs. Some of the final details that I wanted to change in the end is I ended up getting rid of that path and ended up taking the sky's reflection down to here. And then I added some lily pads down here. And then just kind of decided to break this up as I wanted to. And those were some of the final details. I hope that this inspires you to get creative and paint along with me, and then get the courage to add in your own personal touches. All my 50 States and 50 Paintings series are for sale. Don't miss out on owning an original painting by me. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and the bell next to it if you want to learn how to paint. And if you haven't already, check out my weekly art lessons. They're going to teach you all about color theory and composition and all the things that you need to know to create the paintings that you want. You also get the reference photos to help you paint along, and you can sign up for postcards of my 50 States and 50 Paintings series. Check out these other videos, and I will see you in my next video.